Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new episode of Magnify podcast. Left, and today we have Aryan Shah, who happens to be one of the WhatsApp community member of Magnify. And one fine day, we were just having a chat, and he said, "I'm going around the world for my honeymoon." And I thought, "Wow, okay, let's talk about this." And this is something interesting, and that's why we have Aryan today on the show. Welcome, Aryan. Before we begin, can you please tell us some background about yourself and how you got into points and miles ecosystem?
Sure. So thank you, Pranav, for having me on this. And, I think it's glad we got to chat that day. And, somehow it turned out to be a conversation about, we ended up talking for a long, I remember that day. So, yeah, basically, I'll just give a small background about me. I am actually into the import export business. It's a family business. And we have an office in the US. Having a business set up in the US makes you automatically get into the points and miles game because you have your different business credit cards there and where you earn a lot of points on different spends and everything. So of course I think now that is also catching up in India as well.
Yeah.
But I think they are like far ahead in terms of various offers and various cards, sign up bonuses, etc. when it comes to all this. That's how just over the years I was able to rack up couple of 100,000 points and close to a
Super.
million points. So yeah.
Super, super. So, which US credit card do you hold?
So I had none of them are personal cards. All are like business cards. So one is the American Express Gold card for business. Then there is a Capital One card, and then there is a Chase card. So yeah, almost three. So that covers most of the airline and hotel programs.
Interesting. And how long are you doing this?
Oh, I think almost since 2019, 2020, almost 5, 6 years now.
Wow, wow. So, do you have like 500K odd points?
No, well, it's above a million points now almost.
Wow.
Yeah. But out of that, I burned a lot for my honeymoon. So
Yeah.
now it's not it's not a million. Yeah.
Sure, sure, sure. Why don't you tell us about this round the world concept? Anyone who is hearing it for the first time, how does it work? And
Sure.
does ANA come into picture with this?
Absolutely. So, what happens is, as you know, that, I was into this whole points and miles game and I was following a lot of US pages and websites and blogs, all about the points and miles. And that's where I came across this blog where it said that, someone had traveled around the world on points. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, let's have a look. And surprisingly turned out to be, it was someone who had done through ANA itself.
Okay. Okay.
So of course, then I figured out that except ANA, there are a couple of airline points where you can do. So there is Qantas, there is Asia Miles also where you can do around the world, different other programs. But I think the best in terms of value was ANA, and I said that okay, I can transfer my Amex points to ANA. So then let's go ahead with ANA. And ANA also had one of the best when it came to what do you say, the number of miles traveled as compared to the points used. Yeah, so that's why I went ahead with ANA. So yeah, basically around the world is, they have different set of rules where you can travel from one place to other, where you go east to west or west to east.
Okay.
That's a different set of rule. But basically it's just multiple segments in one PNR.
Okay.
And when you mix it all together, you don't need to be the actual amount of miles which are required if you book it individually. It's far less than that.
Got it. So you mentioned you got points in ANA through your Amex points
That's correct.
of US credit card.
That is correct. Yeah.
So you did not need any Indian credit card to transfer to Marriott maybe and then do it?
As of now, no, because that I had exactly that many amount of miles in my Amex, so I
Okay.
completely use it.
When did you travel, by the way?
I just went like this year in 2026 January end, and I came back in March first week.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So I think they shut this program down in June 2024, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
Right.
in June 2025.
June 2025. Yes, that's right.
That's correct. So June 2025, I think 23rd June was the last day to book.
Okay. Okay. And when did you book it?
22nd June. So yeah, it was a very funny story, and I had it planned that I need to book it, but that requires a lot of time, a lot of these things. So
Okay.
but then when one day was left, I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me just do this and finish it off.
Wow. Amazing. You pieced all the individual flights together in a day for 2 tickets?
Yeah. So basically, what happened is that normally the how it goes is that you get on a call with any agent and then they tell you. But what I had done is before them, I didn't want to waste a lot of time. Still, that call was very long.
Okay.
But before that, I had done my research. I knew a couple of websites. You can probably search United Airlines website because
Yeah.
see, ANA belongs to Star Alliance, and I think the best program to search award space for Star Alliance is United.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I had searched up the United website, couple of different Star Alliance Airlines website, and done a little bit of my research for the
Okay.
area. And then I got on a call with the ANA agent, and then that's how I booked it.
Okay. Tell us more about this ANA program or ANA around the world trip. How many miles are required? How do they piece it all together? How many segments can you do? Is it only economy or even business? And which one did
Sure.
you do?
Sure. So first of all, I selected the business option for two of us, and basically how it works is that they have different set of rules. So
Okay.
the ANA has divided the whole world in like three regions. One is like whole Asia, Southeast Asia, and Pacific area. Then the second region is Europe or Africa. The third region is North America and South America. That's how they divide.
Got
And
it.
the rule is that you need to stop in all the regions at least once.
Okay.
Then there are a couple of other rules where you can't backtrack into the region, but a little bit of backtracking is allowed. So if you're going from west to east
Mhm.
or east to west, you can move in the same direction, but you can't backtrack.
You can't go from Mumbai to Turkey and then come back to Singapore.
No, you
You
can't.
have to go ahead
Correct.
to Europe or US. Got
That's
it.
right. That's
Okay.
right. So then that's how we same exactly. So we did from India to Europe, and then we covered US, and then we went to Asia Pacific, and then back to India. So
Interesting.
I'll tell you my route and everything. So
Sure, sure.
basically, it cost me around 145,000 points per
The highest
person.
bracket.
Yeah. No, 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 not the highest bracket. There was one more bracket above it because we didn't cover that many number of miles.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So 145,000 points per person. So it turned out to be only 290,000 points.
Yeah.
And the taxes and fees were about $690 per person.
Okay. That's about 50,000
Yeah,
rupees.
655, 60,000 rupees. Yeah, maximum. Exactly. So that much it costed, and it was in both the people were in business for all the segments except one of the segments because it was not available.
Okay. Also, you can mix and match as well.
You can mix and match, but the thing is, so let's say if you have five segments and suppose one of them is first class, so
Okay.
they'll charge you the first class miles, and rest all are business or economy doesn't matter. They will charge you first class miles.
First class
So
match.
for me, it was 145,000 in business. So my all the segments were in business except one of the segments that was in economy.
Understood. Understood. So, how did you start? Where did you start from?
Yeah. So basically,
And while you are talking about your journey, right, you tell us about how did the planning go? Because I am more curious on how did you find all the routes that two for two business class and that too in a one single day.
yeah. Well, so to be honest, what happened is that uh, I had figured out my whole this thing. I'd written it in a book. I went on United's website. I did couple. Okay, let's see Bombay to Frankfurt, or whatever. So I was looking at those segments, and whatever was available, I was noting it down.
Okay.
But that became too much of a hassle for me. So what I did is, what, I gave a call to ANA,
Yeah.
and the best thing to do is to call them at 9 a.m. Pacific time, because that is the time when there is the least amount of waiting. Because when you call up ANA, you might have to hold the call for 1.5.
Okay.
So I called up exactly at 9, and to my surprise, they picked up the call in like 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
I was on to an agent, and the agents were very helpful. They know that a lot of people are booking around the world, so they know how to guide you and everything, and they're aware that I'm going to use the points.
Yeah.
So couple of things to note is that when you transfer your Amex points to ANA, it normally takes 2 to 3 days. So make sure you have those many miles in your account. So that was a risk I had taken actually, because
Oh,
I
yeah.
was not sure that my route was going to be 290,000 points or 300,000 points.
Got it. You booked it one day before the program closed. So, in
Exactly.
case you did not get any one segment, everything on a toss.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. So basically, a couple of things to keep in mind is that before you book, anyone who wants to do around the world, there has to be a lot of flexibility with them when it comes to this. Because what happens is you might not get the date, you might not get the sector, you might not get that destination or that airport where you want to fly in.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was sure about that. That I'm kind of flexible. I know that I want to go for these many days, and I was on a call with the agent. And when I told them that, okay, you know what, I wanted, because I'm based in Bombay, so I'm like, okay, let me know a flight from Bombay to Frankfurt, or Bombay to wherever in the Europe. And then they told me, okay, you know what, Bombay to Frankfurt, there's a flight available. So
Okay.
I said, okay, I don't want to go to Germany, but you know what I did is I took an internal flight separately. So what
Oh,
I,
okay.
Yes.
That you did not book through around the world.
No. That was a separate thing which I booked. Exactly. So I went from, unfortunately, I didn't get a flight from Bombay, so I had to fly to Delhi again. So it was Delhi to Frankfurt, but it was on a Lufthansa A380 double decker. Beautiful.
I heard you get that particular flight very easily in business.
Yeah. You a lot of availability is there. That's right. So first segment was Delhi to Frankfurt in
Okay.
Lufthansa business.
Okay.
Then, well, actually, of course, we landed in Germany and then, we just flew out to Madrid that day. But again, one more thing to keep in mind is, if this flight gets delayed, which did with us,
Okay.
I missed my connecting flight. So on the airport, I was sitting in Frankfurt and I had to book a second flight to Madrid because
Oh,
my hotels and everything were booked there.
yeah.
But it's okay, I mean, I was so irritated. Is the first sector of my around the world, and then this happened. So we went to Madrid. We were there for a couple of days. We took a flight to Zurich because the second sector of the round the world was Zurich to Miami.
Zurich to Miami with Swiss.
Swiss airline business class. That's
Wow.
correct.
Wow.
Again, we found 2 seats in business. Beautiful. It was a retrofitted new airlines what they had done.
Okay. Okay.
And of course, we were in the US for next another 10 to 12 days. And then the next flight was San Francisco to Melbourne.
So
United.
into San Francisco, how did you go from Miami to San Francisco?
It was an internal flight, which was again booked with local American points.
Okay. Okay.
So that was an economy flight. San Francisco to Melbourne, the longest flight of the whole segment. Unfortunately, this was an economy because yeah. But what happens is, when I was on a call with the agent, she told me that just book it for now because again the program is closing tomorrow, and
Yeah.
plus if there is a seat which opens up in the next couple of days, I can call them and upgrade it for free.
Yeah, they can upgrade you.
So you don't need to pay for that upgrade or yeah. So if the seat availability opens, so there's a very beautiful tool which I use. It's called seats.aero.
Yeah. Okay.
And I had a premium subscription for it. So I had kept all the alerts. So so let's say I was flying on 12th February from San Francisco to Melbourne. I had kept it for 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. I'm like any of the days if I get 2 seats available, I'm changing my dates and going in business. And I had kept that alert. Unfortunately, under the last day, nothing opened up and we had to fly economy, but it's okay. Getting at this price, it's peanuts for all the sectors.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yes.
Did you get an upgrade?
No, I didn't. Everything was full. Everything was sold out. Even premium economy was sold out.
Is there an option for premium economy RTW?
There is. So premium economy, it's cheaper. So if I had done the whole sector in premium economy, it would have been close to 120,000 points if I'm not wrong.
Got it.
So I'm like, it's only 25,000 points more in business. Why not go in business?
Absolutely.
So exactly. And then from Melbourne, of course, we were in Australia for almost 18, 19 days. That was the main part of the trip. Then we flew from
So in Europe, how many days were you there?
about 5 days.
5,
days.
then US 10 days.
US 10, yeah, US 12 days, 15.
Okay.
Then 19 days in Australia.
Wow. Okay. That
was
was
a long trip.
honeymoon.
Long trip. Long trip. Again, internal flights was not covered in this RTW, so we had to book it separately, but everything was booked through Air Canada and it was very cheap internally.
Yeah.
But one thing I would recommend, like whoever's planning around the world, is that basically book everything in advance. Because what happens is, especially internal flights, they get expensive as you're closer to the date.
Yeah, absolutely.
The points which are costing 12,000, it might cost 20,000 or 25,000 per person.
Yeah, absolutely. So from Melbourne, where did you go?
Melbourne to Singapore was Singapore business class.
Wow. Okay.
Beautiful.
What was it? Again, A380?
A380, yes.
Wow.
No, sorry, that was not A380.
Okay.
That was, I think, a Boeing 777, if I'm not wrong. Not an A380. Yeah. So that was Melbourne to Singapore. And last sector was Singapore to Ahmedabad. I think that was an A380.
Again, Singapore Airlines.
Again, Singapore Airlines.
Nice. So Mumbai Lufthansa business, A380, then Swiss, then United, and then two Singapore
Two
Airlines.
Singapore Airlines, yes.
So 5 total segments in business class
And
and-
one economy.
around the world. And how many miles did you cover overall?
That was close to approximate 24,000 miles.
Okay. So
Yeah,
24,000 miles, 5 segments of very premium airlines business class, and just 1,45,000 points is
That's it, per person. That's it.
amazing.
So total was 290,000 points with $1,400 for both. So I had earlier, I don't know if I can find that, but I had an Excel where I'd done a cash value comparison of what time I had booked.
Okay.
So
Okay.
at the time of booking, if I'd done the whole thing on business class, it would have come to close to around 14,000 or $15,000 in business. 15,000 per person.
Wow.
Almost $30,000, close to $30,000 worth of flights
Yeah.
saved with this.
Great. Which was the best business class while you did this?
Well, to be honest, it's a very tough choice between the Lufthansa A380 and the Singapore to Ahmedabad A380. Yeah, both
Yeah.
are good. Both are good. I mean, Lufthansa. I think Lufthansa business was first time for me, so that was a much better experience.
Mhm.
But yeah, all the airlines were good.
Okay. Okay. And how long was the call with the agent that you had to take?
I have a screenshot for it. I don't remember. It's close to 1 hour 57 minutes.
2 hours, almost 2 hours.
2 hours, 2 hours of worth of calls. Because you know what happened is I used to tell her if Bombay is not available, check Delhi. I
Um,
used to give her different cities, and luckily that agent was very good. She was helpful. She's like, okay, sir, hold on, let me check. Then she used to, then in the end, I was like, okay, you know what? Tell me whichever city in Europe is available from Bombay or Delhi.
okay. And I can imagine she had to enter all the city list pair
Unfortunately,
with
she had
the
to pair.
system.
That's why it took a lot of time. One month, as soon as we used to lock, okay. So now Frankfurt is in. I'm like, okay, madam, do you have from Frankfurt to US?
Yeah.
So we were giving. I already had a couple of routes in mind because I know which all Star Alliance airlines goes from which city to which city.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had that in mind already. So
Got
I
it.
used to just tell her that okay, check from here to here, check from here to here. I didn't want her to waste a lot of time.
Any airline that you wanted to try in business class with Star Alliance but could not?
To be honest, I think these were the premium airlines in Star Alliance. There's Lufthansa, Singapore,
Yeah.
United, and Swiss. Rest all are, it's where you can try anytime.
Yeah. I wish to try Eva Air once.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it is one of the best, they say.
They have so Eva Air is basically, I think they have a very beautiful flight which is from which is to Taipei from US. So
Okay.
US to Taipei, they have a direct long flight in business which can be booked for only 90,000 points or 100,000 points, one way business class.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Any bad experiences? Anything that you missed in your journey?
Well, the thing that missed the only bad experience was the first flight which we took because the Lufthansa flight from
Mhm.
Delhi to Frankfurt was at 3 a.m. And I flew from Bombay to Delhi. I reached it around 11. And then as soon as I reached, I got an email that the flight has been delayed by 6, 7 hours. So I had
Whoa.
to spend the night in Delhi, then take an early morning flight from Delhi to Frankfurt. And then I missed the connecting flight. So again, I had to book that flight. That was a little bit of a small hiccup which happened, but it's okay. Normally people, when they book this around the world, they know that if Frankfurt was my last destination, I wouldn't have mind. It's okay. It's okay.
And by the way, when did you get married?
Oh, December.
December. So, and you booked your honeymoon in June.
June. Yeah.
Okay. And did your wife know about it? Or was it a
Yeah. She knew about it. So I had given her an option. I told her, okay, either we go to one or two countries or we do this for a little bit longer time, close to 40 days, 35, 37, 38 days. So I told, okay, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't think we'll be able to spare so many number of days,
Yeah.
or maybe ahead in life. So why not?
Yeah.
Let's try this out. So yeah.
And was she excited all along or?
Yeah. She was excited all along, but towards the end, as soon as we crossed 30 days,
Uh-huh.
in the end, she's like, okay, now we need to go back. And but luckily, we met a couple of friends. We met along the way, like a lot of friends. In every city, we met different people, and that's how we kind of enjoyed. So in the end, also when I reached Singapore for 2 3 days, I had a couple of my friends who were there with me the whole day. So we enjoyed a lot.
Got it. How many days did you spend in Singapore?
About 3 nights.
Okay. Yeah, that's sufficient, I think.
Yeah, good amount of time.
Good enough. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I would just recommend that anyone who wants to go and do this whole around the world, I think now ANA is not an option as they've closed this around the world.
Yeah. I like Starlines more because, first of all, too many airlines. Second of all, availability will not be a problem to do
Exactly.
around the world. With One World, it is kind of problem
Correct.
going around the world. Yeah. Yeah. And was it cancelable?
Yeah, it was. So basically, the cancellation terms were that if I cancel it, I think 3 or 4 days before my first flight, I get all my miles back. They just deduct 2,000 points or something like that.
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's okay.
that's fine. I don't remember, is it 2,000 or something, but close to that. It's hardly like couple of just 2 or 3,000 points they cut and then they refund you back the whole points.
Makes sense. That's okay.
Also, you cannot change the sector. You can only change the date. So if I've booked Delhi to Frankfurt on 26th January, I can do that to 25th, 24th, or 27th. But I cannot change the sector. I cannot change
Got it.
any.
Got it. Got it. And how long can it be? So you did it for almost 45, 50 days?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
How long can it be? Can it be like 6 months?
So the minimum number of time it has to be for 10 days.
Okay.
And the maximum it can be, I think, for a year. They
For a
don't. Yeah,
year.
yeah. ANA allows you for a year.
Wow.
ANA gives you a lot of leverage.
They allowed.
I know.
Not anymore.
Now, not anymore.
Not
Exactly.
anymore. Yeah. I mean, I was talking to someone. I think I was talking to a mayor who is one of the this points guy. I was talking to him, and he was going to book for his cousin. And after that, I think you are someone who booked it the last.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
before it is over.
Yeah. I mean, I know the 23rd. I had kept a calendar timeline of 20. I mean, I kept an alarm that, okay, no matter what, 22nd, I need to book it. I transferred a couple of days. I transferred around 10th of June.
Pre-planned.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
pre-planned.
I had transferred because what I'd done is before transferring, I had done an approximate flight route calculation that, okay, it's going to cost me so they have a bracket. So if it's like between 20 and 25,000 miles you're flying,
Yeah.
it costs you 145,000. If you go above 25,000, I think there's a rate chart where it costs you 160 or 170,000 per person.
Yeah. Still
So
nothing like it.
exactly.
Very cheap.
Very cheap. I mean, when you compare it to like a cents per this thing, it's very cheap.
But why do you think they closed this?
A lot of people, well, maybe it's because a lot of people have been using this in the US, because I know that, there are companies or there are people in US who, if anyone wants to do around the world, you pay them $300 and they'll find and do everything for you.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's close to, they charge, I guess, close to $300 or $350 per person.
okay.
And then they guide you with everything, how to go about it. They might even be on a call with you or something like that when you're talking to the agent.
Okay. And
Yeah.
they find you all the itinerary.
Everything they do for you. And then they suggest you what is available, what is not available before you get on the final call with any agent.
Wow. Okay. And I think that's the reason everyone is doing it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. That's how a lot of people were doing it. And if you ask them, they have probably booked it for almost 100 clients in a year.
I think one of the reason can also be the agents, because you yourself were on call for 2 hours, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I think in a day they must be doing what, 2 or 3 such bookings and done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe 2 hours is probably less, because I've heard stories in the US where people have been on a call with them for 6 hours, 5 hours.
Mm.
Yeah.
Very
To
poor.
figure to figure out the whole route, when they just call up and then they say, okay, I want to book. So then you need to start from.
If you are not prepared and call them, it is very, very lengthy process for them to enter into the GDS system, figure out what routes are there, and the possibilities are so many.
So many. If you don't know the routes, maybe let's say you tell her that, okay, Delhi to some airport in Germany, but if there's no route, you need to waste that amount of time on a call
Yeah.
with her. Okay, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm sorry, sir, this is not a route available. So that's why at least do your homework, see which airlines are going to which of the airports. Is there a Star Alliance? Then you get on a call, so it's much easier.
Got it.
I don't know how is it with Qantas. Maybe you can book it online or with an agent. I'm not sure. Are you aware? Or do you know that?
I think it
On
is
the phone.
with the agent itself.
Yeah.
Because to tie up all this itinerary into single PNR is a very big problem.
Very big problem. So my whole itinerary was like a 2-page this thing. The whole PNR was a 2-page thing. So even so, let's say, so what they've done in that itinerary, so it's Delhi to Frankfurt and then Zurich to Miami. So Frankfurt to Zurich is also mentioned that this is going to be by surface. So they've mentioned it there. Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically I have to figure out how I go from Frankfurt to Zurich.
Yeah. And you cannot miss a leg, right?
No, you cannot. So that's what I got on a call with the agent again to ask her that what if I cancel one of my sectors? So she said that if you cancel one of the sectors, all your remaining sectors go invalid. Well, you can cancel your last sector if you don't want to fly, and maybe just because it doesn't matter if you cancel the last sector.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
And if there was one thing that you would have done differently, what?
Just book it more well in advance if I would have done, because I would have gotten to choose my airports which I wanted to fly in or fly out of.
I agree.
I would have stopped the hassle of flying internally within Europe or internally within US.
Even the internal flights in the US or in the Europe could have been booked on this itself.
Yeah. It could have been booked, but nothing was available. That's why I had to skip that.
Yeah, yeah. And how was the overall trip? Did your wife like it?
Yeah.
Enjoy it?
Beautiful. I think, yeah, we enjoyed a lot. Flight was comfortable. That was the most important part.
Yeah.
And,
And you could carry
everywhere.
so many luggage.
No, luckily, you know what, to be honest, what I did is I convinced her that we should just carry with like a one large bag, check-in bag, one carry-on. That's it.
So poor of
For
her.
both of us. I know. But she got to shop. She got to shop, so that's fine.
Okay. So while on the route, you must have shopped a lot, and then did you carry one more extra luggage bag with you?
No, to be honest, no, because half part of my bag was food, which got emptied, and then the shopping covered the half which was empty.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Which airline food was the best?
Which airline food was the best?
I
Hold
mean,
on.
your buds are not working in the air, but still.
That is true. That is true. I think to be, I liked Singapore Airlines food.
Singapore Airlines.
Yeah, they had very limited vegetarian options, but it was good.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
How was the Swiss journey?
Swiss journey was good. In terms of food, well, Swiss journey was a whole daytime flight. So,
Wow.
yeah, because it left in the afternoon, if I'm not mistaken, from Zurich, and then when we reached Miami, it was afternoon time, close to late afternoon. So
Okay. Understood. So a daytime is definitely good because you get to enjoy
exactly,
the business class experience. And I think the
exactly,
Delhi Frankfurt is overnight.
it's an overnight flight. So it's charged, I think, 3 or 3:30 a.m.
Yeah.
It's an overnight flight.
Oh, but you said it got delayed.
Yeah, our flight got delayed, so we boarded at 7:30 or something like that.
Okay.
Bad, I know. But I just booked a hotel near the airport, and then I slept there. And then again, 6 a.m. I was like, okay, let's go now.
Yeah.
And that was the first leg of the trip. So I kind of got a little bit demotivated with that, but it's okay. Like, hota hai, you can't control that, so it's fine.
Any of the city in your entire trip that you visited for the first time?
I mean, Australia was first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Australia, everything was first time. Beautiful. I mean, Australia, I would definitely recommend. It's a huge country, and you will need at least a month, minimum a month in Australia to visit if you want to see the whole of Australia, or maybe more.
Yeah.
So we just did like Melbourne, Sydney. We went to Tasmania, which is like a small island, near Australia.
Yeah.
And then we visited Western Australia, Esperance, where a lot of people usually don't go. They go to Northern Australia, where they go to like Cairns or different Whitsunday Islands or something like that. So we wanted to go there, but it was a rainy season, so we had to change it accordingly. So
Got it.
yeah, but Esperance has probably one of the best blue waters I've ever seen, I guess.
Nice.
Beautiful. And we've taken some amazing drone shots and everything. So yeah.
Oh, wow.
We actually have a page which we started during our wedding,
Okay.
which we post a lot during wedding time and after the wedding time. It was a lot of wedding content. But after that, as soon as we started traveling, we started to post. We will post yet. We have a lot of reels and everything planned to be posted there. So there is a page which I'll share it with you.
Yeah, definitely. You share, I'll put it in the post description here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do that. Thank you so much, Aryan, for joining this podcast. And it was great hearing about this round the world trip. It is one of the best redemptions you can ever have.
Absolutely.
Typically, with ANA, 145,000 is nothing because
It's nothing.
I mean, one round the world US in itself takes more than 2 lakh or 2 lakh point
Correct.
business from India. But this round the world with 1 lakh 45 is nothing. Hope you enjoyed your trip and thanks a lot. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. That's a wrap for this podcast. We'll see you soon for the next one. Thank you so much.